Mark, we are here at the NBA Finals. You get in a lot of questions now after Game 1 about adjustments, and I feel like it's something we do. We see something and it has to be a reaction to what we've seen on the court. It's a one-point game. It felt like a lot went right. What is the balance for you as you try and work through that now leading into the series continuing?
Yeah, 1 point wins or losses are emotional experiences, and rightfully so. You put so much into it, you really want to win. We were disappointed that we lost.
Halliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! Tyrese Halliburton does it again!
I mean, the series obviously doesn't end after Game 1. You really have to try to strip the emotion away and just look at it in a very clear-eyed way, figure out the things that you did well that you need to carry over and continue, figure out the things that you didn't do well that you need to improve, and figure out what other options you have if you draw on those, in terms of adjustments. But we go through that process continuously, whether we win or lose a game, whether it's regular season or playoffs. And so we're right back into our patterns, in between Game 1 and Game 2.
It is obviously heightened, though, being at the finals, and I do feel like, again, there is a lot of conversation about this team being so young, and from the outside, it's like, are they ready? When are they going to fall over? Why hasn't this team? Because even as young as they are, they seem so mature from the outside as they work through these scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, number one, they've got an uncommon, regardless of our age, there's an uncommon maturity, professionalism, work capacity, team orientation, competitiveness that they've exhibited over a long period of time, even before we were winning 60 games.
SGA the drive, SGA the finish. Little crossover, Caruso bump shot, it's good, and a foul. Caruso chaos here in the fourth quarter.
We embrace the opportunity to go out there and compete. That's really what it comes down to. And so there's no group of guys that I could have more confidence in than this group of guys. But now, we're in this situation. We're down 0-1 in the series, and we have to play the best we can tomorrow to compete to win the game. And so that's what our focus is.
There was a game earlier this year. It was Cleveland winning in Boston. They were down like 25-2 or something in the first quarter. And I asked Kenny after the game whether you get to the playoffs and then you lean on experience you've had in the past. And I am curious, you said post-game that this Pacers team is just good. But how does the team and you guys work through understanding that they have been a comeback team in this postseason when you do have those double-digit leads? Is that I don't know what you call it, but just an awareness that that's what they do?
Yeah, I mean, you want to know your opponent. You want to know your opponent's experiences. We have high respect for Indiana and did at the beginning of the series. We know how dangerous they are. We know they're a great team. And one of the things that makes them a great team is they have unbelievable belief, when the back's against the wall or when they're down in a game. They play all 48 minutes in character. And they give themselves an opportunity to have good fortune in some of those games. And that was happening in the regular season. So Game 1, we did a really good job of building a 15-point lead. And they did a really good job of closing that in the fourth quarter and going and getting the game. We obviously want to be aware of that, but we also need to control what we can and be the best version of ourselves.
Just back to you, about 7 or 8 years ago, I was working in an oil refinery out of high school. I was a tradesman, and I didn't picture that I'd be sitting next to an NBA coach at the finals, right? And I wonder when you're going through your college and UConn and education potentially, and you go to take an assistant coaching role, I'm curious at what point you were like, okay, this is something I can do for the rest of my life, and then where the NBA Finals came into that dream along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this many times, but I honestly believe this. If you replayed my life 10 million times, this would only happen once. I should not be here. Statistically, I've been given great opportunities and responsibilities. I've been around great people. Those people have taken really good care of me. Most recently, Sam and Clay, obviously. And I've been lucky, and so the question is, what do you do with that? And, I just try to throw my best punch, be the best I can be, stay true to who I am, encourage the players to do the same. But yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly lucky to be in this position.
A couple of weeks ago now was the day that SGA was going to get the MVP. Well, we didn't know it at the time, and I was trying to figure out how to ask you to get a thought about, how proud you are of him and how much this team enjoys the success he had. Rightfully so, you didn't quite dive into the MVP. What about now? Because you told me about the players, but for you personally, over the last 4 or 5 years, to see the growth in him.
Congratulations. You are the NBA Kia MVP.
The thing about Shea is we get obviously a lot of access to each other, in our environment. You're on the buses together, you're in the hotels together, you're in the meeting spaces together, in the facility together. You get a lot of private time. as a team. And the thing about him is you see him come out here, he's the coolest guy in the room. He plays like it. He's got unbelievable poise, confidence, talent. The more you're around him and the more you see him in private spaces, the more impressive he is. And that's not always the case. You know, sometimes when you see people, when the lights are off, so to speak, they're a little bit different. He's more impressive, you know, and I think that's why everybody is so happy for him and everybody gets behind him when he, you know, has an honor like MVP or some of the other things he's accomplished. That's why the team feels the way they do about him, because, you know, he's earned it. Number one, he's a great worker, and he's a really, really good person, you know, that treats people the right way. He's a family man. He's grown, you know, exponentially. And the last thing I'd say on that is, like, most of our players, if not all, are like that, you know. And he happens to have won the MVP, but I could talk the same way about any of our guys: Cambridge Williams, Cason Wallace, right on down the line.
That's why it's such a fun team to watch, and I've enjoyed your success. It is fun. It's a cool story, and it's great to be here at the NBA Finals. I appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.